When I returned from my 2-week vacation, I couldn't unlock my restaurant's door. My key wasn't working. I heard voices from inside, and when I looked through the window, what I saw shocked me. My head chef Marcus was sitting at a table, writing bills for customers. My waiters were continuing to serve as if nothing had happened. When I knocked on the door, Marcus opened it and said, "Sorry, Gabriel, but you don't have a job here anymore." The team I had worked with for 15 years was shutting me out. But there was something they didn't know. My name is Gabriel Torres. I'm 42 years old, and I run a restaurant called Crimson Kitchen in Portland, Oregon. Or I used to run it. This story is about how I almost lost the business I built with 15 years of hard work. But it's also about how sometimes the biggest betrayals teach the most valuable lessons. I opened Crimson Kitchen when I was 27 years old. Back then it was just a small place with 6 tables. I cooked myself, served myself, and kept the books at night. My first employee was Marcus Sullivan. He was 23, fresh out of culinary school, an enthusiastic young man. I trusted him because, like me, he really loved this business. As the years passed, the restaurant grew. 6 tables became 12, then 24. Marcus became head chef. Then I hired Lisa Martinez as a waitress. She was very talented, perfect communication with customers. 3 years later, I made her head waitress. A year later came Carlos Mendez as sous chef, then Jenny Walsh for cashier work. These 4 people became the heart of my restaurant. I didn't just establish work relationships with all of them, I got to know their families. When Marcus's daughter was born, I was at the hospital. I was at Lisa's mother's funeral. I was best man at Carlos's wedding. I helped with Jenny's college expenses. They weren't just my employees, they had become my family. Or so I thought. Business was really good. We had become one of the most beloved restaurants in Portland. You had to wait weeks to get a reservation. Local newspapers praised us. Food Network even came to film a show. Success made me proud, but my real pride was in the team we had achieved all this together. Last year, my mother started getting sick. She lived in Salem, 3 hours away from Portland. I started visiting her once or twice a week. The restaurant was running so smoothly that it worked perfectly even when I wasn't there. Marcus managed the kitchen, Lisa handled the dining room, Carlos had mastered meat cooking, and Jenny kept the books. In March, the doctor said my mother's condition was serious. She needed to start chemotherapy. I realized I needed to spend more time with her. I had a meeting with the team. I told them about my mother's condition and that I needed to be with her more often. Marcus immediately spoke up. "Gabriel, don't worry at all. We can run this place perfectly even when you're not here. You focus on your mother." Lisa also agreed. "Yes, Gabriel, we're a family. Just like what you've done for us, now we'll do for you." Carlos and Jenny also expressed their support the same way. I can't describe how lucky I felt at that moment. These people were truly my family. In April and May, I spent 3 or 4 days a week with my mother. The restaurant was running perfectly. Revenues were normal, there were no customer complaints, everything was fine. In fact, some things were even better than before. New menu items had been added, table arrangements had been optimized. This made me very happy. I had once again seen how talented and loyal my team was. At the beginning of June, my mother recovered a bit. The doctor said the treatment was going well. At that time, I was working on a new project with my business partner Andrew Collins in Portland. We were planning to open a second restaurant. Andrew was handling the financial side. I was taking care of the operational side. For the new project, I needed to go to San Francisco for 2 weeks. There, I would look at potential locations, meet with suppliers, work on menu development. I discussed the situation with my team. They gave me the same assurance again. "You go, Gabriel, we'll protect this place," they said. I went to San Francisco on June 15th. The first week was very busy but productive. We had found a perfect location and suppliers had given reasonable prices. The second week, we worked on menu development and staff planning. During this time, I was in daily communication with the restaurant. Marcus called every evening to tell me how the day went. Everything seemed normal. I returned to Portland on June 29th. I went home from the airport, dropped off my things, took a shower. I was planning to go to the restaurant in the evening and have dinner with the team. I wanted to tell them how much I missed them, how grateful I was. When I arrived at the restaurant, there were cars I didn't recognize in the parking lot. It seemed a bit strange, but I thought maybe customer volume had increased. But when I got to the door, my key didn't work. I tried several times, it didn't work. Maybe the lock was changed for security reasons, I said to myself. When I looked inside through the window, what I saw froze me. Marcus was sitting at the manager's desk with account books in front of him, talking to customers. Lisa and Carlos were working normally, but something was different. The menus had changed. The table arrangement was completely different. Even the photos on my wall were different. I knocked on the door. Lisa opened the door, and when she saw me, her face went white. "Gabriel, what are you doing here?" she said. "What am I doing here? This is my restaurant," I said. Marcus got up from the table and came over. "Gabriel, welcome. But things have changed now. We're taking over this place." "What do you mean, taking over?" I asked in amazement. Marcus smiled. "While you were gone, we ran this place by ourselves. Customers want to work with us. You're not needed anymore." "This is ridiculous. This is my restaurant," I said, raising my voice. Lisa intervened. "Gabriel, you were constantly away. Your mother's illness affected you a lot. We do better work at the restaurant." Carlos also spoke. "If you ask customers, they like our service more than yours." Jenny didn't even turn her head from the cash register. She looked at me as if she didn't know me at all. I was shocked. People I had worked with for 15 years were shutting me out. But at that moment, something came to my mind. There was something they didn't know. Early the next morning, I went to my lawyer, Patricia Coleman. I told Patricia the situation. She was also surprised, but immediately took action. "Gabriel, let's first review the legal status of the restaurant," she said. "We need to check ownership contracts, employee agreements, business licenses, everything." That day, we collected all the documents. In the evening, we were sitting in Patricia's office reviewing them. An hour later, Patricia looked up and smiled. "Gabriel, your team has made a big mistake. They think they can take ownership of the restaurant, but this is legally impossible." "How so?" I asked. "The restaurant is your personal property. None of your employees have partnership rights. The business license is in your name, the lease agreement is in your name, all supplier agreements are in your name. They are just employees. They cannot take over the restaurant." "But then, why are they acting like this?" I said. Patricia looked thoughtful. "Maybe they have another plan. Tomorrow, let's go and investigate the situation in more detail." The next day, Patricia and I went to the restaurant together. This time, I didn't knock. I tried to enter with my own key. It still didn't work. Patricia knocked on the door and Marcus opened it. "I am Patricia Coleman, Mr. Torres's lawyer," Patricia said in a stern voice. "I want to speak with the legal owner of this restaurant." I noticed Marcus was sweating. "What do you want to discuss?" he said. "In whose name are the ownership documents of this restaurant registered?" Patricia asked. Marcus stammered. This is a complicated situation. We operate this place. It doesn't matter who operates it." "Who is the legal owner?" Patricia repeated. At that time, Lisa and Carlos had also come. All three looked worried. Patricia took the documents out of her bag. "This restaurant is the personal property of Gabriel Torres. The business license, lease agreement, all legal documents are in his name. You are just employees here." Marcus spoke angrily. "We have been running this place for 15 years. It works perfectly without Gabriel." "Operating and owning are different things," Patricia said in a cold voice. "You are workers here. If you want to continue doing your job, you will follow Mr. Torres's instructions." But Marcus didn't give up. "We run this place better. Customers are satisfied with us. We don't need Gabriel." Then Patricia played her main card. She took out other documents from her bag. "These are financial records from the past 2 months. While Mr. Torres was away, you made some interesting transactions here." Marcus's face turned pale. "What do you mean?" he said. "On June 23rd, you increased menu prices but didn't reflect this increase in accounting records." "Where did the difference go?" Patricia asked. Lisa intervened. "We were just trying to make the operation more efficient." Patricia continued. "On June 25th, you placed a $5,000 material order, but these materials were not delivered to the restaurant. Where did these materials go?" Carlos was silent but was soaked in sweat. Patricia took out the last document. And this is the most interesting one. On June 27th, you established a company called Northern Valley Catering. Do you know who the partners of this company are? Marcus Sullivan, Lisa Martinez, Carlos Mendez. Now everything was becoming clear. They weren't just trying to fire me, they had established their own company with materials they stole from my restaurant. Marcus could no longer deny it. Gabriel, we just wanted to start our own business. You were constantly away, so we… Patricia cut him off. This is called theft, and Mr. Torres can sue you if he wants. At that moment, Jenny approached from the cash register. She had an envelope in her hand. Gabriel, I'm not part of this, she said. Here are the records of what they did in the past 2 months. I wrote down everything. When we opened the envelope, it contained detailed records of all their activities. What materials they stole, which customer information they copied, how they established their own company, everything was written. Patricia looked at Jenny. Why did you do this? She asked. Jenny spoke through tears. Gabriel was very good to me. He covered my college expenses, treated me like a sister. I couldn't ignore this betrayal. Marcus, Lisa, and Carlos had now completely collapsed. Their crimes had been exposed. Patricia gave them my final ultimatum. Now I'm offering you 2 options. Either you pay back the money for the materials you stole and voluntarily quit your jobs, or Mr. Torres will sue you for theft. Marcus's voice was trembling. We'll pay the money, just don't let us be sued. The following week, everything returned to normal. Marcus, Lisa, and Carlos quit their jobs. They paid for the materials they stole. They closed Northern Valley Catering. I hired new employees for my restaurant. Jenny became head cashier because I realized I could trust her. A month later, my old customers started coming. They had also noticed the change but didn't know the real reason. Together with my new team, Crimson Kitchen became stronger than before. 6 months later, Marcus called me. Gabriel, I'm sorry, we made a huge mistake. Can you forgive us? He said. Marcus, I forgave you, I said. But once trust is broken, it's never the same again. It would be better for you to make a fresh start somewhere else. Patricia was right. Sometimes the biggest betrayals teach the most valuable lessons. I learned that I was not just a restaurant owner, but also a businessman. I understood how important it is to strike the balance between heart and mind. Today, Crimson Kitchen is more successful than ever in Portland. We also opened our second restaurant. But this time, I'm doing everything more carefully. I trust my employees, but at the same time, I have taken all my legal precautions. Jenny still works with me. Because she showed loyalty, I made her a partner. She now owns 20% of the restaurant, because real loyalty should be rewarded. I heard that Marcus, Lisa, and Carlos tried to open their own restaurant, but were not successful, because no business built on theft lasts long. Sometimes when I sit alone in my restaurant at night, I think about those days, how 15 years of friendship suddenly turned into betrayal. But at the same time, I appreciate the value of real friends like Jenny. This story taught me that success comes not only from doing good work, but also from working with the right people. And you always need to be prepared. Because life sometimes gives its biggest lessons when you least expect it.